From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Wednesday, March 25th. It's going to be even warmer today, starting out cool right now, but we will be up to the 70s. It's going to be a really nice day ahead. Could have some storms overnight, nothing severe, but be aware on Thursday we're going to have really warm weather in the 80s and then potentially severe weather overnight then.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
The father of Fisher's teenager Haley Busby is pushing for a new law to protect young people after his daughter's disappearance and death. He spoke to News 8's Kat Sandoval about Haley's law.
It's not an easy conversation to have for Bo Busby. It took courage and vulnerability. He tells me Haley's law gives children better protection from predators.
I saw a folder and it was full of college flyers and applications. And, Haley was, she had a future and she was looking forward to it.
It was a future that never happened.
In today's world, things move so fast. We don't have days before we complete some of those initial steps.
Her family is now pushing for Haley's law. Bo says it'll give families and authorities opportunities to act in the most critical hours. It includes a pink alert specifically for missing high-risk youth, which focuses on cases involving online grooming or trafficking risk, a gap, the family says, that can be missed by the amber or silver alert. There's also a push for mandated online safety education in schools.
We're also asking for higher penalties for first offense groomers. Right now it's a misdemeanor. We would need that to be a felony, and I think most Hoosier families would agree. So
Haley Busby went missing early January after communicating with a 39-year-old Ohio man she met online. She was later found dead.
She's a very special girl to us, and we just, because of that love and how selfless she was as a person and all about other people in those relationships, we just want to do our best to carry that forward for others.
Bo tells me that means making sure it doesn't happen to any other child again. He says there were no obvious signs, and the family implemented safeguards like no computer, tablet, or phone in her room at night. He is also encouraging parents to be diligent and to keep communication open.
And we know some of them have had to do it alone. And what we're trying to do is surround them with love and support to where they feel hope and feel like they can take action, fight. And so we're trying to get some work done to help fill a lot of those gaps.
Bo says he is grateful for the community support, and they are using that attention to take action. He intends to deliver a draft of this law to lawmakers next week and push for Haley's law in next year's legislative session. I'm Kat Sandoval for Wish TV, wishtv.com.
Indiana's top utility regulator says the state's largest utility companies are not doing enough to lower bills. The comments came during a hearing on utility affordability. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist explains how those companies are defending the bills.
Commissioners grilled the utilities on everything from low-income assistance to data centers. The companies offered some examples of what they're doing, but regulators say they want more. Utility company leaders say the largest variables on your bill are your usage and smaller bill riders that pay for infrastructure improvements and other investments. AES Indiana and Duke Energy both say they have customer assistance programs already in place.
Our customer programs delivered over 163 million kilowatt hours of energy savings through a wide range of no-cost assessments, weatherization, school kits, small business support, rebates, and incentives.
Commission Chair Andy Zay says he wants a more comprehensive plan for short-term utility bill relief.
I'm not certain I've heard anything tangible that is really going to hit Main Street and our ratepayers, and that concerns me. I think there's some programs and some plans out there. I would like to see the utility stretch a little bit more, make a commitment, invest that to really make a difference with Hoosier ratepayers in Main Street.
Regulators specifically questioned AES leaders about a proposed acquisition by a consortium led by BlackRock. Company leaders say no acquisition costs will be passed on to ratepayers, and rate commitments will not change.
If this transaction goes through, the timing we are looking at towards the end of this year or early 2027, I can tell you that these two companies mirror our commitments in terms of reliability, affordability for our customers.
One lawmaker who serves on the House Utilities Committee says she doesn't buy that.
They're paying, $33 billion for this company? You don't pay $33 billion for a company and then say, I'm not going to recoup my costs. How are they going to recoup their costs if ratepayers aren't paying more?
Regulators also pressed both AES and Duke Energy on data centers. Company officials say data centers and other large-scale utility users must pay for any additional costs. Zay says so far he's satisfied companies are not passing those costs on to residential customers. Zay says besides the hearing with the utility companies, commissioners plan to hold several listening sessions with utility customers throughout the state. He says they'll decide their next steps based on feedback from those listening sessions and from the companies. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
The Marion County Sheriff is warning you to watch out for a dangerous drug spreading across the Midwest. He says it has not showed up in Indiana yet, but has been deadly in nearby states. It's called cyclorphene. The sheriff says it's a synthetic opioid that's 10 times more powerful than fentanyl. Even a small amount can be fatal. Officials say it can also be resistant to a single dose of Narcan. The sheriff's office says it could be a powder, typically off-white, gray, or tan in color. It could also be made to look like prescription medications, and it could be mixed with other drugs like heroin and meth. The sheriff says there have been a number of fatal overdoses in Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. A new report shows an alarming number of eviction filings for people renting homes across Marion County. There were more than 116,000 filings between 2021 and 2025, and more than 25,000 evictions in 2024. The report highlights which townships and neighborhoods are seeing the highest rates across Indianapolis. News 8's Malia Van Ostrin explains.
The information that we shared in this report just shows that it hasn't eased, and this is obviously a housing instability problem for our community.
Nelson says rising rent and a shortage of affordable housing are key drivers, which leaves many renters spending a third or more of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Warren Township has the highest eviction filing rate in Marion County. The International Marketplace neighborhood in Pike Township has nearly twice to 3 times the rate in the county overall at 38 filings per 100 households.
Wages just are not keeping up with rising housing costs. That's for renters as well as for homeowners.
The report also raises concerns about landlord practices, including forum shopping, where cases are filed in a different court that may be more favorable to landlords. Nelson says tenants often face retaliatory evictions when they report their landlords to the health department for substandard conditions or if they threaten to hold rent if conditions aren't improved.
If we could get that issue fixed and ensure that the landlord has to meet their obligations in providing habitable homes, and in return, the tenant makes their payments, that could help certainly a lot. But we've also just got to deal with rising costs.
Nelson says consequences for renters can last long after a case is closed, and hopes that more can be done so that there can be fewer filings in the future.
There's no limitations whatsoever here in Indiana on how much rent can go up. We see this also even across all types of properties.
The Fair Housing Center will release a second report later this year to take a closer look at filings by individual property owners and property management companies. In Indianapolis, I'm Malia Van Ostrin for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
A federal judge in southern Indiana has sentenced a Russian citizen to federal prison for hacking into multiple companies across the U.S. 26-year-old Alexei Volkov is from St. Petersburg, Russia. He's now sentenced to 81 months in prison for assisting major cybercrime groups. Prosecutors say he gained and sold access to company computer networks. Authorities say the groups he worked with then infected victims' networks with malware and demanded ransom to remove it. Victims sent the hackers more than $9 million. Prosecutors say Volkov has agreed to pay full restitution to the victims. Now to the conflict in Iran. Gas Buddy says that the national average for a gallon of gas in the U.S. is hovering near $4. Gas prices have not reached that high since August of 2022. John Lawrence reports that it could be a while before prices trend downward if a peace deal is not reached soon.
Just hit $60, so it is what it is. I guess at this point, you got to do what you got to do.
The cost of filling up keeps going up due to the U.S.'s war with Iran.
Trump ran on a campaign saying, I'm going to end endless wars. We've got to invest in America, not on these endless wars. And he went back on his word.
President Donald Trump says he believes the U.S. and Iran will come to terms on an agreement that will end the conflict.
We have a number of people doing it, and the other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. And who wouldn't if you were there?
The war with Tehran has disrupted tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, choking off about 20% of the world's oil supply.
I think they're going to start playing hardball, and that escalates the risk that this could be dragged on for a longer period of time, and that consumers, through higher gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel prices, are going to have a little bit of sticker shock that could linger.
Possibly lingering for people as they plan their summer vacations.
Travel has been a top priority for a lot of travelers just the past couple of years. And that has been, pretty notable with going somewhere that is a popular destination. You may be paying, slightly higher costs to get down there.
I'm John Lawrence for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
An Iranian military spokesperson says the U.S. is only negotiating with themselves over attempts at a ceasefire deal. The statement came shortly after the Trump administration sent a 15-point ceasefire plan to Iran through Pakistan. In a recorded video statement broadcast on Iranian television, the official suggested that there were no talks. President Trump has said that American officials are negotiating with Iran on a plan. So far, though, the White House has not commented on the spokesperson's claims. A deal to end the Department of Homeland Security shutdown may soon be closer to reality. A source familiar with the matter tells CNN that Republican lawmakers emerged from the White House with a plan to mostly fund the department. The deal includes payments for TSA agents. Key Democrats say they are open to a plan, but they want to see it in writing. The deal comes as the DHS says 450 TSA workers have quit their jobs and long lines remain at airports.
We've been here at least an hour and 15 minutes in line. Got up at some ungodly hour to get an 8:15 flight.
You think it's not going to be that bad, but then you get here and, you think, oh man, it really is as bad as they say it is.
A deal has not been reached yet, and a deadline is approaching quickly as Congress is set to go on recess at the end of this week. Sports now, the Purdue Boilermakers are headed to the Sweet 16 in San Jose, California, and our sports director, Anthony Calhoun, has you covered. Live coverage begins tonight at 6 as the Boilers' road to the Final Four continues against the Texas Longhorns tomorrow night. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. Ball State Cardinals are welcoming a new head coach for their men's basketball team, too. Chris Kapko has been recognized as one of the country's top assistant basketball coaches. He will take over as head coach and was introduced yesterday in Muncie. Kapko most recently served as the associate head coach with SMU and helped the Mustangs get back in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. Kapko set his expectations for the Cardinals and talked about what the team will look like under his leadership.
I had a great quality of life with Coach Infield. I was happy at SMU. I did aspire to be a head coach, but felt like if I was ever going to do it, I needed to go to a place where there was real alignment and there was going to be someone who was really invested in me. And Jeff showed that every step of the way. I could tell I was his guy. And at the end of the day, I really felt a deep sense of confidence that he was going to do whatever he could to make me as successful as I can be. Hopefully you see a new version of just the way basketball is played now. Offensive rating has exploded in college basketball. I think the best teams in the country got to be able to score. I think they have to be able to shoot. So I think you're going to see a lot of shooting, a lot of skill, decision-making, but a group that is tough and connected and willing to do some of the gritty things as well.
Ball State says Kapko has helped develop 11 NBA players across multiple schools, including USC, Florida International, and SMU. Wish TV is your education station. It is almost time to meet our Golden Apple Award winner for March. We have surprised her with the award, a school supply shopping spree to teachers' treasures. and $500 thanks to our partners at Hensley Legal Group. So here are 3 clues. She's a science teacher at Fishers High School. She also helps coach the unified football and unified track teams, and she runs Quiz Bowl after school. Plus, while students say science is not always their favorite subject, she makes geology and physics fun.
Been enjoying it a lot, and I'm not really a science person or a geology person, but I'm enjoying it.
Definitely makes it more tolerable because like the labs are so interactive. I feel like labs are where it really shines. And also she's just very pleasant, so I'm not really ever stressed going into her classroom.
She sort of did a tournament where everybody participated, and we were in groups, and the top 3 got candy. Sort of very outgoing. That's the most important part, and definitely what's highlights her the most.
Recently, we did a lab that involved a Hot Wheel toy, and we had to measure velocity and acceleration of it. She makes it fun by integrating a lot of personal things that can connect with the students.
You can see us surprise her tomorrow morning. That's Thursday on Wish TV at 7:30 in the morning. Japanese cherry blossom trees at the White River State Park are blooming. Japan gave Indianapolis 52 trees back in 2012. The gift celebrates the 100th anniversary of the blooming of the cherry blossoms in the nation's capital. The trees are located between the zoo and the west bank of the White River. They are only expected to be in bloom for 1 to 2 weeks, so go check them out. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.